And good morning once again, everyone. It's Scott Michlin here on KSJE. We are back after a computer reboot, which is kind of how the morning has gone, but I'm glad that my guest is hanging in there with me. Arvin Trujillo, welcome from Four Corners Economic Development. How are you this morning?
Good, Scott, and good morning to you. I guess this is a good way for 2021 to start off, huh?
Oh, my goodness. I thought we were done with this stuff last year, but I guess not. But that's okay. We go with the flow when it's live radio, and I'm glad that you do too. Four Corners Economic Development, you and I have been talking every month, of course, and we will continue to do so in the new year. And you have lots of kind of irons in the fire, projects that you are working on. And so we both kind of thought it'd be great to give an update on where things stand for some of these projects that we've started. And, you know, the one near and dear to my heart is this big kind of ambitious rail spur project for Northwest New Mexico. And so what's the latest on the railroad?
You know, we've done a lot to get to where we are right now, Scott. As I've been talking to you and informing our listeners out there, you know, we've got the MOU in place with between the Navajo Nation and San Juan County, and that's been working real well. We've also got a $2 million planning grant through the U.S. Department of Transportation's Bill Grant program. Right now, what we're awaiting is a grant agreement with the U.S. Department of Transportation. San Juan County will be taking the lead on that. They're the fiscal agent of this project. And so once we get that, we'll go through those negotiations. And then what we're hoping is sometime this quarter, by March, hopefully having all the procurement pieces in place so that we can begin the actual planning process. Up to this point, we've also had a couple of discussions with staff with the U.S. Department of Transportation. They're quite enthusiastic in terms of what we're trying to do here. They're also very committed to seeing how they can assist us in moving this from a planning project to an actual capital project. And so again, that the goal of this whole effort is going to be putting a plan together that will allow us then to say, here's how we're going to proceed with the design and construction of the project, getting budgets together, getting timelines together, so we can actually bring this needed infrastructure here to San Juan County.
Got you. And it sounds like just semantics, but that's a really significant difference, right, between planning project and a capital project, right? Capital means you're going to start moving some dirt, right?
That's correct. And once we get to a capital project process, that actually means putting together some realistic plans and then actually starting the construction and having dates in place for us to do that. And what we're looking at there too is we're not planning on this being a government owned or government run piece of infrastructure. We're looking at getting investors involved. So as we put these plans together, we'll be out there looking for investors to become participants in this project. And as we've also discussed, coupled with this is as we get the rail spur going and get things solidified in the direction with that, we'll be opening up fact-finding, research, and discussions on looking at the petrochemical end of it, because we still need that value-added product to send out of San Juan County, and we're looking at jobs with that aspect also. So again, a lot that has to happen, but we've made a lot of inroads, and we're really excited about looking at this next year.
Right, and I know, and it's a big dollar project, right? This is maybe one of the most expensive economic development projects that the area has kind of gone after. But these early grants that the community has been getting, does that mean that maybe there is at least some plan to maybe move forward with this and to make a capital project? If you're going to invest X amount of dollars to plan it, does that mean that some state or federal entities could come forward to help, not pay for the whole thing, but help pay for the rest of it?
There's a good possibility, and as we've been hearing, Scott, you know, the federal government, again, as the new Biden administration comes into play, they are looking at infrastructure development. And so, again, we're wanting to see how that will help us, not only in the rail project, but in the broadband project also. And so again, we're trying to get our foundations in place so that we can take advantage of these opportunities as they arise and really begin to push this project forward.
I understand. And if there is a big infrastructure bill that makes its way through Congress, and that's what, as you mentioned, the incoming Biden administration has said they would like to see, I guess it'd be possible that this could be a shovel-ready project as part of maybe that bill, perhaps.
That's exactly what I'm looking at right now, is to make this a shovel-ready project. And we can get this planning in place. And again, one of the big pieces is having the Navajo Nation in partnership with us.
Right.
Once we get this in place, that puts us in a position to say we're ready to move forward with this project and start looking at how we can begin to fund it.
And you mentioned that petrochemical plant as one of those value-added things. I imagine that this project, if it is going to go forward, would maybe spur some other investments in the community and other job-creating investments in the community. I should say communities, plural, because a lot of places could draw from that rail spur. Even if it ends in San Juan County, it certainly would have an impact throughout all the states of the Four Corners, right? Isn't that also part of this major project?
Yes, that's exactly correct. And we're looking at seeing how we could begin to look at our own industries. Again, we're looking at seeing how we might be able to promote a petrochemical project here in the region. But also, we have to also understand we also have industries right now. We have NAPI, we have Raytheon, we have Pesco, we have a number of small manufacturing industries here in the county and in the general region as a whole. And so again, there's opportunities that will arise from that. And again, we're looking at how we can promote those efforts as we look at bringing new industry, new diversity here into the Four Corners area.
Right, and it seems to me, Arvin Trujillo, that something like a petrochemical plant or some other maybe heavy industrial or other types of manufacturing would create some more high-paying jobs, maybe jobs that are more comparison to some of the jobs that maybe we are losing with the shift at the power plants and the coal mines and things like that. Not that those jobs may be going away, but certainly there's less of those jobs this year than there were a decade ago.
Yes, and again, it's as you were indicating, getting our foundation in place so that as these opportunities arise, we're in a position to take advantage of them. We're also would be in a position to really begin to promote what we do have here in the Four Corners area. And so those things are coming together. We're working hard to make sure that we're in the forefront as we move forward with this effort. And really, a lot of this also goes back to building those relationships with the different tribes and, of course, the other three states. Making sure that they are a part of this effort. And again, it's that idea that as one area begins to succeed, everybody also sees success and sees benefits from that. And so again, that's what we're trying to promote here.
Right. Very good. Well, but bottom line is the community has already received this one major grant, and to kind of work on this planning and the steps are in place to apply for some more for this railroad project. Let's talk a little bit about broadband, Arvin Trujillo. I know that's something you've been talking about and interested in talking about and working with our neighboring regions, our neighboring states and tribes and things like that to kind of upgrade broadband. Maybe that's my problem here at the radio station. We need better internet to keep my servers running here. But what's the latest with that? You're talking fiber optics, right?
Yeah, we're talking fiber optics. Right now, we do have an engineering study that was completed looking at a fiber optic loop that would connect Durango, Cortez, Shiprock, Farmington, Aztec, and back up to Durango. Right now, the Navajo Nation is also working on projects to bring fiber optics through their reservation, and they're looking at a company that has the vision of developing a fiber optic line that would connect Phoenix with Salt Lake City and Phoenix with Denver, Colorado. And that line is coming up from Phoenix through Flagstaff into Page, Arizona, and they're splitting, one going north towards Salt Lake City and the other one coming across the Navajo Nation and through San Juan County is the way they're envisioning it, on up through Colorado up to Denver.
Okay.
So we're in discussions, preliminary discussions to see how that planning is going. One thing that we're working on here is, again, as many of the listeners may be aware, Farmington Electric is looking at the possibility of becoming an internet service provider. Having that will also open up doors for us in terms of funding, because one of the things that has been a challenge for us up to this point has been the fact that as you begin to look at these types of assets, fiber optics, the conduits, getting all these things in the ground, somebody has to own this. And right now we've had some challenges in really identifying exactly who would own what. So if we can get Farmington involved in this, that would really begin to simplify that area. But that doesn't stop us from getting the planning done. We're looking at getting these pieces in place and working with both the Navajo Nation and Southwest Colorado in order to see this come to fruition. And again, as people are aware, people are talking about broadband dollars coming down the pipe. We're wanting to see if we can tap some of those dollars to begin to look at planning. But if we're going to be looking at construction, we have to find somebody who's going to be taking that ownership lead in those areas. And so again, we're working hard to begin the collaboration between different ISPs or internet service providers and making sure that we can, again, build that foundation so when these opportunities come, we can take advantage of them and get the funding needed here to really build out our infrastructure.
Interesting. And that's very interesting, too, to talk about that other line going up from Phoenix through Flagstaff, as you mentioned, to Salt Lake, and maybe splitting off to come across the reservation, because that would certainly provide access to fiber optics and faster internet for some of those communities along that route, right? And the whole idea, maybe folks are listening to us saying, well, why should I care about Phoenix and Salt Lake City and Flagstaff? But that also would add redundancy, wouldn't it, to our loop network that's already serving San Juan County, right? So if we had an internet outage in one spot, traffic could move around to a different direction and still remain connected. And of course, last year, more than most, we've learned how very important it is to have reliable internet for either working from home or going to school from home, or all these things that are now dependent on that infrastructure, right?
That's correct. And again, it gets us into the major markets also. As people can see, once we were able to connect into Albuquerque through the P&M line, that opened up a lot of opportunities here in Farmington for internet service, higher speed internet service. I can remember those days in the 80s when we were back on the old dial system. You hear that long sound and you hear the clicking and whatnot. And
right.
It took forever to get anything done. But again, having connections to these metropolitan areas really helps us speed things up, and it brings a redundancy into the region here, and it allows us to really gain access to the World Wide Web, as well as new markets and new industries there that take advantage of that technology. And we're seeing that happening now. The pandemic has forced us into that mode of operation, but we're seeing people now taking advantage of that. And we're trying to do that. We're going to be talking about things that SCAPE, through the accelerated program, has been doing in terms of online work. And again, those are things that we can take advantage of here in San Juan County.
Right. I want to ask you about SCAPE in just a moment, but I do want to just again point out that maybe why the city of Farmington is mentioned with this. Obviously, the city is already in a unique position because it already owns the electric utility, and so it has a lot of existing infrastructure of power poles and power lines and things like that. It's not a giant leap to think about how they could maybe string fiber optic or cable or other things to connect internet to its service area already, which is much of San Juan County. And I guess that's what brings them into the conversation, right? Is that they already have some interest in this, and they already have some expertise in providing electricity to households. So why not just add internet to it?
Exactly. And they bring a lot to the table, having exactly what you talked about. They have those assets already available. And so, again, we're wanting to look at that, but also we're keeping tabs on the Navajo Nation because we have the southern and western portions of the county that are within the reservation boundaries. And so as we begin to look at that, they're looking at internet development through the CARES Act and the funding available, they've been able to develop hotspots in different chapter areas. And so again, they're moving forward also. So how do we begin to coordinate with them so that we can gain better coverage throughout the county here as far as internet services are concerned? So those are some of the things that we got on tap looking at 2021.
Okay.
We got a lot there also, and so we're really excited about that.
Very good. Well, in our remaining moments this morning, let's talk about SCAPE for just a moment, Arvin Trujillo. We had them guests from SCAPE on the program earlier this week to talk a little bit about this Southwest Colorado Accelerator Program for Entrepreneurs, if I have the acronym correct. And you are a part of this, and I know the City of Farmington's Economic Development Director and Department's a part of this, and San Juan College is a part of this. But this entity from the Durango area is looking for entrepreneurs, people who want to maybe start a business, expand a business in Northwest New Mexico, and they are literally putting some money where their mouths are because they've got some investors who may be interested in seeing some of these things come to fruition. So there's an application process that's open right now, right?
That's correct. And, you know, on our website, on the Chambers, Farmington Chambers website, on the city's website, we have the application process in place. And again, this is looking at small businesses who want to really begin to develop and grow. The SCAPE program out of Durango has been very successful in helping small businesses, and they've been able to develop a pool of investors who have been able to help these small businesses, not only in investing money, but in mentorship and in training, helping these small business owners really take advantage of what they have and build that into a viable business throughout the U.S. They've had success in not only taking small businesses and building out locally, but also taking those small businesses and through the internet and through broadband development, build out nationally. So that's kind of what we're looking at right now. And so we're really excited about this. We're looking at making sure we get people who are interested in this program. Please put your application in, because again, you're looking at getting the necessary mentorship, you're looking at getting support, and you're looking at getting capital invested into your business to help you grow and develop. So again, we're really excited about this. We're really excited about the partnership between SCAPE and San Juan College, the Chamber, ourselves, City of Farmington. And again, that application is going out to individuals throughout San Juan County,
right?
Both on and off the reservation. And so again, we're really excited about having this program move forward here.
Very good. And the deadline for the applications, I believe, is the end of January 31st, correct?
That's correct.
Got you. And Arvin Trujillo, from an economic development standpoint, can you talk to me a bit about, how important these entrepreneurs are to a community, to a region, to maybe start a business and expand a business and things like that? I know you are also working on the business continuation and retention and expansion project as well. So it comes to mind that if you've got an entrepreneur who's already in a community, knows the benefits of the community, and wants to start a business, that's already kind of a win-win, right? If they can just get some money to move forward and some advice and marketing and mentoring to make it happen.
That's a real. They're the foundation of really building our capabilities here in the county. Because as we begin to work with small businesses and as they begin to grow and develop, they know the area, they understand what needs to be done. They're able to provide good jobs for local areas. We can also build on them as we look at recruiting new industries, because as we begin to build our small businesses and build their capabilities, now we have businesses and industries that can be service providers to other industries that we wish to recruit, because those businesses are looking for that support. They're looking for those resources that are available here in a given region. And if they're going to relocate into this region, what else is available here that will help them be successful? And so building this effort really helps us. And the other piece of it is looking at these small businesses and and attracting good talent into the area, because again, because of the pandemic and a number of challenges that are happening throughout the country, there's a movement from the urban back to the rural areas. And again, we can bring talent back into this region here if we can get some of these things moving forward. I think we have a lot of ambitious people out there, and I think this SCAPE program will begin to open the door for those individuals, and it would help really spur some of the resources we have available here, because we're seeing that we finished up the DRE interview process. We were successful in getting 100 businesses interviewed throughout San Juan County. We've got that information now going through the University of Minnesota. They're analyzing that information. We'll be coming back, and we have a whole process in place to help us identify projects to work towards business retention and expansion. So as you can see, we got a lot going, and we're still moving forward. Pandemic or no pandemic, we've got to make it rock and roll. And so that's what we're doing.
You and everyone else, for sure. But that's a great update, and I appreciate that. And I guess the other thing I just wanted to make a point of is that the difference, it seems, with this conversation when we're talking about SCAPE and these business expansion and retention programs are that this conversation, there's some dollars behind it, some significant dollars behind it, and that's what makes this so different. So I guess if folks are listening to us this morning and saying, well, if I've applied or I've worked with the Small Business Development Center before on a business plan, that's great. But now there's some money, some entrepreneurs some people that want to support entrepreneurs who have some cash to maybe make some of these things happen and help make these goals attainable. And that's maybe one of the significant differences of this latest conversation.
That's correct. This is looking at really showcasing your business. It is a competitive process. The SCAPE program selects anywhere from 5 to 7 businesses to work with. They go through extensive training through a 6-month program. They have mentors that are available that will help advise them and guide them through their business development. And the biggest piece to that is they also will provide capital, working capital for that business to get some of these things started and to look at new ways to identify resources and new funding for investors for their particular business. And so again, the SCAPE program is something that has been very successful in Southwest Colorado. They've been able to generate over $24 million of capital, gross product out of that whole program. And so we're wanting to build something of that nature here in San Juan County, and I think we have the people to do that. So really, if you have a business that you're interested in pursuing, take a look at the application, fill that out, get that in so that we can get you in the whole process. And if you're one of those successful individuals, again, there's a whole lot of opportunity for you looking to the future.
Very true. And the website we're talking about is goscape.org to get more information about that Southwest Colorado Accelerator Program for Entrepreneurs. GoScape, SCAPE.org. Arvin Trujillo, we are out of time for our conversation this morning, but I do appreciate you every month setting aside some time to talk to me, and especially this morning when I had to do a quick computer reboot and leave you hanging for a few minutes and then rejoin you. So thank you very much.
Sure thing, Scott. And again, looking forward to next month. And once we get things moving, we may have some updates based off of the state legislative session.
That's right.
Going through the session this time around.
Okay, we'll look forward to that as well then. Thank you very much. That's Arvin Trujillo, everyone, my guest from Four Corners Economic Development. My guest this morning on KSJE. The time right now is 8:45.
I'm Tracy K. Smith, and this is The Slowdown